Welcome back. We're now joined by Sports Information Director Clark Teuscher. Clark, thanks for stopping by.
Good to be back.
So the men's baseball team bounces back from a loss against Illinois Wesleyan to take the next 2 games against that team to even up the series and move to 6-2 in the conference.
Yeah, you know, they've been leaning on their pitching quite a bit. Had an injury in the pitching staff. John Rashid was not able to go this past weekend. They're still waiting to see how severe that's going to be. But, you know, they bring in young sophomore left-hander Connor Brown for the series finale, and he winds up pitching, 7 shutout innings in his first career start to help him close out a 2 out of 3 series victory over Illinois Wesleyan, which could come into play pretty heavily when you get to talking about tiebreakers at the end of the season.
And with that effort, Connor Brown takes home CCIW Pitcher of the Week. The only other person to win that award, John Rashid.
Yeah, and Connor was a guy that Joe Heller, one of the assistant coaches, had been kind of stumping for to give him a chance to start in the rotation, and they'd pitched him out of the bullpen as a freshman. He'd done pretty well. They knew he had some potential. He's a guy from Bloomington pitching against the Titans. He certainly wanted to do well against his hometown team. Really, got off to a good start and got into a rhythm, and really provided a huge lift when the team really needed it.
Another pitcher that's actually showing his potential, the closer Tyler Herman moves into second on the all-time list with 9 saves now, only 4 away from tying the all-time mark.
Yeah, Tyler had kind of a long week. He pitched 3 innings to get a save earlier in the week against Augustana, and he's one of those guys that he's had some starting experience, so he can pitch some extended relief stints if he needs to. He's a guy who they could, as they get in these midweek conference games, he's a guy that they might be able to have to lean on as they kind of stretch out their pitching staff and try to save some guys for the weekend.
And on the other diamond on campus, the softball team seems to have an uphill battle the rest of the way as they fall to 1-5 in conference. It looks like they're going to have the work cut out for them if they want to make the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. They've got a couple of non-conference doubleheaders here coming up to kind of work out some kinks a little bit and try some new things in the order. Coach did try to shake up the lineup a little bit yesterday and had some decent success in terms of scoring runs early on, but unfortunately the pitching and defense didn't hold up. So getting all 3 of the phases of the game to kind of work together and execute a little better is going to be the key here in the next couple of weeks as they wrap up conference play.
And they only have 8 conference games left. Do you think that they have to run the table in order to make the tournament, or is there a little bit of leeway in there?
There's not a whole lot of room for error because, you're running into a situation where you're looking at tiebreakers and things like that. You really would not like to put yourself in that position to need help in the last week of the regular season to get in. So certainly they're going to have to play some inspired softball, and I would say more than 1 or 2 losses is probably going to be detrimental in that effort.
One team that has looked inspired this spring is the men's track and field team as they come away with another victory in the Chicagoland Outdoor Championships.
It was a great team performance. A lot of different individuals performed well in a lot of different areas. Still sitting 4th in the national rankings right now. So there's some guys who still have not competed in all their specialty events.
Right.
They're not necessarily the full complement events that they'll compete in later in the season in the championship meets. So it'll still be a little while before we get a true sense of how that team's going to fare in the national championships.
But some of the events already seem to be set for the Cardinals. They're showing their depth in the pole vault once again, going 1, 2, 3, and now in the 400-meter hurdles with John Howard and Joey Michaels getting 1, 2. That's got to bode well for this team to get a lot of people getting points on the board.
Yeah, John actually qualified for the outdoor championships last year in the 400-meter dash. So, but he does have some experience in the hurdles. Certainly a personal best time for him, and it ranks him pretty highly in the nation. Joey's a guy who's kind of been on the periphery of the national scene in a couple of different events the last couple of years. So he's certainly continuing to progress, and it would be a huge boost for him and the program if he was able to qualify for nationals.
And the women's team takes home a win, too, down at Washington University. And it seems like the distance runners were really hitting their stride in that one.
Yeah, they actually kind of split squads on that. They sent some individuals to the Chicagoland Championships and only took about 16 or 18 individuals down to Wash U. But really came away with about 4 individual championships. The javelin throw continues to be a strong event. The distance events, they got a lot of points there and sealed it up with a decent showing in the 4x400 relay. So definitely a team that's showing a lot of progress in a lot of different areas.
And even though it was a limited number of Cardinals down there, they had some tough competition. I mean, Illinois Wesleyan and Washington University are ranked 7 and 9 in the nation, so that's got to help boost the confidence of this women's team.
I think so. Being able to go head-to-head against teams like that and be able to come out on top certainly does a lot particularly for some of those athletes who are either in new events or are younger and trying to establish themselves as athletes in the outdoor arena. So, you know, as we continue to move forward and get into championship situations in the conference and the nationals, that'll be a good experience to fall back on.
And one of those younger athletes that seemed to have, you know, made a name for herself already is Amanda Coglines. She got the third fastest time in school history in the 400-meter dash.
And one of the two individuals in front of her was a national champion in that event. So
Wow.
That's certainly some nice company to be in. I think she's got she's a young athlete. She's got a lot of room to grow there in that event. And, you know, is one of those people that, you know, like a lot of women, you know, kind of on that verge of being able to be in that group that can assure themselves of a trip to the national championships.
Well, we look forward to watching them make it the rest of the way this season.
Certainly.
The men's tennis team travels to Augustana College this weekend, hoping to get back to a 500 conference record with a win over the Vikings. I'm Marc Dahlquist. See you here next week on the Cardinal Report.